So recently, has been like adding all these retextured, redone animals, which I kinda think it's kinda lazy, as many people have mentioned. But from a technical point, I can see why. I have kinda been studying game creation for a while actually and plan on going into the field, so here is my opinion on it. So the first off, you can see how they have been doing it for a while now. It is common in the industry to reuse and sample assets, to create new assets, and it makes it cheaper. Although it will limit creativity with that certain asset, which is why it may make sense to reuse such assets. Game creation is challenging and hard and very expensive, especially in 3D with animating and all they are doing, with adding new features and places. But that also doesn't change how some people feel. Personally, I understand, but I'm still saddened with how it's going right now. I believe them sampling from the Arctic fox was actually a good idea. It creates a new animal and it's cheaper. I understand people are saying they're lazy, but I feel like we need a deeper understanding with this. For about 5 to 6 years, the developers have consistently added many new animals and dens with their very own sets monthly, which truly is an impressive sight which we need to give credit to. But back to the retextures, as I've said before, it has been disappointing and many people have complained. Essentially, the developers have conditioned us to these monthly dens and animals, which they fulfill, but with most of the updates lacking animals, it feels kinda bare bones. But that is personally my own opinion. While yes, is still add new dens, most people do not see the dens as important as per se a new animal. Even as someone who loves den decorating, I still see animals more important because you actually will see it and most will not see your den, which is also why items are viewed more highly than den items in terms of worth. More people would just rather pay for an animal and not a den, I myself included. I see this sorta information as interesting because you can see why so many people are outraged due to this. But this is not the only reason why people feel this way about the retextured animals. So here's a list of some reasons why most people don't really like the retextures. 1. It lacks creativity. Most people love the animals because of their stylistic styles and unique stuff about them. It's like one animal is one of a kind, which makes each animal feel so personal when you pretty much have full freedom, able to change every pattern and color, and some people can make really cool stuff with such patterns. With pretty much every single retexture you can't do that. You can't fiddle with the patterns, and while yes, some patterns look cool, they just feel really limiting. Especially with the pattern on the sunset Siamese cat, the gradients on the cat can get in the way of the color you're trying to get. 2. Boring. Most of the animals that get retextures are repetitive and get boring really fast. Back when I was a kid, I was always excited to see all these new animals, and though they were so cool, but they don't feel as new or interesting as older animals used to make me feel. And yes, you can chalk it up to being a child and more things seem more interesting as a kid, but when I learned about unicorns, I was genuinely excited and they looked so interesting. 3. Disappointing. Along with them being more boring, they are also kinda disappointing. You log on new update expecting something cool, and you kinda just see this animal that is just a boring retexture, nothing interesting, just bare bones. There have been times I log in just to see the new animal when I was on a break or hiatus, and just see the retexture and leave. Of course, everyone has different reasoning to how they feel about the retextures, and that fine, you're entitled to your own opinion and thoughts on this. Of course, there are even some benefits to these new retextures, which I will list right now. 1. Saves time. When you just slap on new colors to a animal and call it new, it gives the developers more time to plan and make newer things like lands and possibly a new ocean world, which I've wanted forever. 2. Beginner friendly. Many newer players who haven't played for as long are able to access older and cooler animals and use them and probably make them feel cooler too. They are also given access to some of the secret places, which can give them cool items in them and exp so they can level faster. Of course, there could be more good things to the retextures, but I just can't think of any at the moment. But here are some things I recommend the Animal Jam developers can do to prevent the need to add more retextured, and sample animals. 1. Delay updates by a week. Just like the dens, if they delay the time of when they release animals, it gives them more time to fully develop a new animal. 2. Not update monthly. If they stop making updates monthly, they can make more quality updates, although there would be less updates. Of course, those are only my ideas, and I am only just a hobbyist developer and don't know much. Anyway, thank you for watching this far. I have always wanted to do commentary on this channel. Subscribe if you want. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next week for another video.